What is up, my Lorcana Goons, and welcome back to the Lorcana Goons channel. I am here with Zach Stone and your newest DLC champion, Dinh Pham, a personal friend of ours, former Lorcana Goon Squad member, and still an amazing player, my guy. Zach, how are you doing today? Dinh, how are you feeling today? Fresh off of your championship victory all the way in Australia, dude.
Yeah, I'm feeling great. Like the win is kind of settling in now after a while, and yeah, I'm still a bit jet lagged to be honest. Like recovering from it, but it's okay.
Kevin, I'm doing well, and thank you to all the goons that are watching this video today. This is our official return of the Quest with a Guest podcast. We're gonna kind of change up. We had it more like formally, like an interview style. So we're gonna see if we could just kind of just have a conversation with our new DLC winner and talk about his experiences. But
Nice, and I'm glad to see that the jet lag didn't take a toll too much on you. You were able to still play those 9 rounds. Well, for you, it was way less rounds because you ended up doing really well in Swiss. We know you personally. A lot of people don't know you personally, Dinh. And I just want to say, obviously, congratulations, but not just congratulations because
Thank
like
you.
it's a hard thing to do, but because you deserve it, dude. So many like I've told so many people when I talk to them about Lorcana and specifically about Ruby Sapphire, Red Blue. People often say like, "Oh, that deck is just luck. That deck takes no skill. It's just a top decking deck. Like these people got so lucky." And I always tell them like, you don't know how much these players truly put into the game. And we were talking about how much you post on social media. And if you don't follow Din on social media, definitely keep up with his journey through Twitter, Facebook, etc., and his new YouTube channel, which you can go subscribe to now. Or you started in set four. I know you through the Yu-Gi-Oh space, like I've heard of you. But I didn't really get to know you personally until that first time where you came to a DLC in America, and we all stayed together. And I watched you literally just constantly talk about the game nonstop, watch videos about the game. If we were eating, if we were playtesting, if we were on our way to Target or something, you were literally on your phone talking to somebody, looking up something, counting your deck, or just asking us, "What do you think of this card? What do you think of this interaction?" Like yeah, you know what I mean. There's very few people that when we go travel to play these card games, the very first thing they want to do when they get to the hotel or get to the room is playtest, and you're one of those people, dude. It's one of the first things that I noticed is like, oh, this guy wants to win. And the amount of effort that I saw that day, it honestly felt very inspiring too, because I'm like, you know what? If I want to win, I basically have to start acting like DK, you know? And like you do so much, man. A lot of people don't really understand that. You posted on Twitter this really lengthy thread talking about your 8 month journey and how you wanted to be a champion and whatnot. There's a part here that I really wanted to emphasize where you mentioned that you felt like you were holding yourself back with older information. So I have your deck list here. I've been had your deck list up here. It's a very unique deck list. It's not a Ruby Sapphire deck that people have been seeing or using in the last, and in any Ruby Sapphire deck actually like this. I want to say the closest similarity was a couple months back on one of the DLC. Somebody played like a Flynn Sisu package with McDuck Manor, but you really ramped it up to where people are calling this a burn deck. So what does that mean to you? You mentioned that no, not playing Dragon, not playing Tamatoa, not playing Dime. How did you get to those conclusions, man?
Yeah, so when Set 6 got revealed and we saw the shark, everybody was like, he's fine, but he's not kind of fitting the deck because everything in the deck basically has an impact on summon, right? Meaning, um, uh, on summon like Tala, you get searching a card out of the top two or Hiram, you draw two, or Tamatoa get an item back, or Maui rush and challenge something directly. Like Shark was kind of slow, so I was also underestimated him. But I saw Sailor building basically something with like actions with the Pirate's Life and Let It Go. And for me personally, I always wanted to play Let It Go and Pirate's Life. Like when I started Lorcana, I looked through all Ruby Sapphire cards that were available, and I saw Let It Go and Pirate's Life. I'm like, damn, I like these cards, but you can't play them because you had better cards to play, and actions without bodies weren't that great besides Brawl, like removal and so on. So it was kind of cool to see that they might be viable. And I always want to play Super Goof because he's a meme basically in Yu-Gi-Oh! Everybody literally says, uh, you cannot catch me summon normal summon Goofy basically, and I always want to play these cards. So I tried a build out where I went full on sharks. Like everybody was playing 2 or 3 sharks. I tried 4 Pirates Life, and 2 goofies, and then I went up to 4 at the Axiom event for in the UK. Basically, like your 10Ks, I would say. And yeah, we played there. I also faced Reese, who played, I think, green purple at that time, Emerald Amethyst, and he wants to play test against me. He even played a more faster version where he plays like burn cards, like the gathering your knowledge, and I beat him 6-0 or something. And then he was like, "Oh damn, I cannot beat it," because I kept just spamming sharks, stopped the questing, and then I just top decked all the Pirates Life. And that's where I also realized, okay, this works. And that's why he also tried on building it, because he wanted to make green purple work, but he also ultimately realized that red blue on playing on shark is also really good. He went on building the mana build with the Flynn Sisu, but I never liked the Flynn Sisu package, because it's only making your on the play better, but your on the play is already good. You need more on the draw, basically, and that's how I tried out going full on the Super Goose and Mauis, because they are giving you the push on the draw, or at least a chance, because they both have rush. And if you play something at 4 with rush like this, you're almost guaranteed with all the digging cards and so on, that you will have the curve of Goof into Maui, and then ultimately into Shark, because they normally both would trade 2 for 1, so you will slow the game down as in such a way that you can develop the Shark without losing too much tempo. And yeah, I started building with that core, but I was held back by the old information, how I like to call it, and that's, you have your core of Tamator, you have the core of Sisu, Maleficent, so on. It's so difficult to break free from this core and from this old way of building a certain deck, right? The Ruby Sapphire deck was always a control deck, so takes like quite of courage to bring a deck to such important tournaments that is so far away from the main thing, that yeah, it basically literally hold me back. Like in New Continentals, I knew about mana. Like I saw Reese playing it, I saw the French guys playing it. I just didn't have the courage, so I didn't put it in. I should have, I think. In the end, I didn't get into the top cut because of a misplay, not because of the mana, but the mana would have helped me a lot. Like I would have probably 2-0'd all the mirror matches, because going from Shark when they beat preview into the manas is like, there's no way that you can beat it. So that was a huge mistake. That held me back already. Then I went into the NA Continentals. I played the mana. So I played literally the build that you know right now. -1 Thala, -1 Hyrum. So I played Hyrum at 2, Thala at 2, and still 2 Sisus, because in my mind, Sisu was really good against Ember Steel, right? It's insane against Ember Steel, because it's enough to kill, to challenge, to banish the Lilos and Rapunzels and whatever else there's on board, right? It's enough to get rid of these buddies, because then they cannot pressure you with like a Pete. Like if they Pete you, you Sisu back. That's normally still fine-ish, unless they have a second Pete. And during testing, it was like kind of fine Stampers here, but during the tournament, I just realized I don't go to 8 that fast. Also, I didn't face any Ember Steel. That's more soul to injury. I faced 6 purple decks
No.
in a row, and then a mirror match. So I'm like, I never summoned Sisu. I literally never summoned Sisu, but she bricked my hand. I needed to get to 7 or get to 6 ink. I needed to start inking like a Pirate's Life, or one of my consistency cards, Visions or Develop Your Brains, which I wanted to hold for my Shark, but then I was forced to ink it. So now for this event, I was like, okay, let's go completely away. This is a new build. This is like a new way to play this deck, right? And I tried to accommodate like the old way as much as possible before, but now let's stop. Let's build it up again. I realized I need a bit more like filtering cards. In this case, Tala or Hiram. I couldn't play 4 Hirams because I don't play enough items. And also, when I have Popsicle up, I don't even wanna use it for Hiram quite often. I want to use it to heal my stuff because I trade a lot, right? Goofy, Maui, and Shark, half Shark. They all trade a lot, so I need something to heal. So basically, like half my Popsicles are being used for heal. So I just don't want a 4 Hirams. And yeah, the Tala was also here just to have more digging power because you want to go to 8 at some point, and then what you do is literally Tala and any 4 cost. Like Tala dig for another 4 cost or mana, like Tala mana, which you saw on stream like 2 times at least. That's why the curve is really good, and that's why I play 3. I don't want to see both at 4 basically because when you're on the play, you don't want to develop such a body normally. Like Tala is fine, but not Hiram. Depends on the matchup. Like against Green Steel, the discard deck, you want Hiram, but against anything else, you rather want to go Haufago into Shark or Tala to have a body to trade. Tala Maui and then half Shark. That's a curve that you want. But yeah, you don't want to play on Hiram, like literally. I think I always summoned Hiram after a Shark, so it's basically turn 6 or turn 7. Depends on that. And yeah, that's like a new way to play. I couldn't rely on old information anymore. If you watch me playing on stream, one thing you can notice, I either mulligan for 1 or 2, or I shove my entire hand. It doesn't matter what I have in my hand, like Popsicles, the Web Brands. I don't keep the 1-drops. That's a nice theory behind it. But I just want my ramp, and the rest will find itself because the turn 3 play, which is a forecast, right? I play like infinite forecast, so I will find any kind of way to play my turn 3. I just need the ramp, so I ensure to get that ramp, and then else, if my hand is only mid, I still keep it more often than not because it's fine. Like it's totally fine if I only have Tala and the rest is inkable, right? Just a new approach. You have to think differently. It's a mid-range deck, tempo deck, whatever you call it. It's just not control anymore. The only control aspect is literally ramping into B prep, or sometimes stalemating with the shark.
Maui
Right?
Shark, yeah.
Big Maui kind of
Yeah.
nice. Big Maui kind of control 5 cost Maui. He was putting in work, dude. That was when I was watching you on stream, man.
Yeah.
So a quick question: did you decide to go to DLC Australia before or after you realized that you had created the best deck? Like, because we were at Nats together, and I remember, and I obviously all of us were sad that we didn't make day 2, but like, yeah, man, like I felt your energy, I felt your vibes. Like I know how frustrated you were that weekend with the way you've talked about it, and like DLC Australia was announced. I feel like at the time you didn't know if you were gonna go. I don't know if you knew already you were gonna go, but like when did it click? Like, okay, I have the best deck. Now I gotta go to Australia, or was it like, you know what? I'm gonna go to Australia anyways. I gotta start cooking again.
Of course, it clicked already. It clicked directly when that I have to go after I didn't make day 2 of the Continentals because I had to try. Like so many people tried to talk me out of this because it was like, oh, so far and so expensive. And like, guys, I have to try. If I don't try, I put so much effort in. If I don't try, and it doesn't matter if I fail or not, because if I don't try, I will regret this. And I know many people right now that regret not going because of 500 people. You made the top cut with 414. That is like insane. Doesn't matter if I won or lost or whatever. I just want to have a shot, right? So I decide there. I don't know if I would have went if I got my words already. Probably not. Yeah, probably not. That was too much. That was too much. Like I would like told all my friends to go that didn't make it, but I myself, I think wouldn't have gone because that travel was quite hard.
Yeah, it almost made it sounded like you would go through the 5 stages of grief if you didn't get your Worlds invite through Melbourne. And I know how much you've been really working hard and really wanting that, right? Like, you definitely told me plenty of times, like, I missed my chance at Europe. I should have taken a risk. And in North America, like you said, you tried to get a little you wanted to prepare for a matchup that you just didn't end up playing against, which can happen due to variants. But you stuck to your guns, and you went in with what I think is a very clean list. Like 8 uninkables in red blue is unheard of. I think we've heard of red blue decks jamming uninkables and playing like over 60 cards, and
Yeah.
still going to worlds too, right?
Oh
Because
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
Hamza.
that's what happens
Oh.
in card games. You don't need to always follow the rules, and you kind of took away from that, and removed your old ways of thinking. You kind of took that one step above, like you realized that, and you knew that there was a strategy to counter not only that, but also just to beat the mirror match too, and you took it. So kudos to you, Din. And honestly,
Thank
yeah,
you.
an incredible feat, regardless if there's 500 people, regardless of the skill capacity to win an event is something, because you are going to be playing the best of the best later, and the longer you go into that tournament. And you didn't take a match loss. You lost games, but no matches, which is still
Yeah.
very good.
That
So
was a
congratulations
quite nice
again.
run.
Very
Yeah.
nice run, dude. I want to even go as far as to say that this is probably the most consistent Lorcana deck right now that you can like play in a tournament. Like you said, it's like 8 uninkables, a bunch of 4 ofs, and the only 3 ofs are the Grandma and the Flavor Sham, and the 2 Let It Go. Which you said you were playing the DLC promos like a madman. It's very nice to see. Dude, I
He
really,
went from
really.
all common to max rarity, and this guy swore on his life he would never play maxed out
No,
Lorcana.
He needed,
it's not
he
max
needed
rarity.
to.
I don't play cold foils. You guys know I don't like cold foils.
Yeah. Mhm.
And Legos I want to play. Like literally, okay, the thing is 2 Legos are actually important because if you saw my top 4 match, I inked the first Lego.
Yes.
I got the second
Yeah.
one. I don't remember if it was Hofago or Tala or Develop Your Brain, but I got 2. I chose the Let It Go because I had the feeling. I was like, he definitely has gone to. It was on one off in his deck, but I'm like, he definitely has gone to. Directly the turn after I got Let It Go, he summoned a gun to. I Let It Go. I'm like,
I
you
saw
can
that.
see it in the
That was
stream
sick.
because I
Yeah.
was laughing.
That was sick. Yeah, you just do it. You just read them like a book.
Yeah, it was so funny, and if I imagine myself like playing the normal, like I literally cannot look at it. It's so it's so ugly compared to the DLC promo. DLC promo is so beautiful. Blue is my favorite color, and the entire card looks just so phenomenal.
Wonderful.
And the Goof and Maui I just got from my team boss basically, and he just gave it to me, and I played them. I don't really mind the Maui and the Goof, but the Lego, whew.
You're not only creating waves in the market, you're creating waves everywhere. You did it in other card games too, man. So just really, really incredible stuff, guys. And if you guys didn't
Yeah.
know, Din does have a Metafy. He does have his red blue masterclass, and honestly, it's very very impressive.
Yeah, and I can't wait for you
Yeah.
to post them on your channel. People like Din over here making content is just a blessing to the community, dude. Like it's obviously people are gonna flock to your channel because you're one of the best right now. But you're gonna be able to share the information with the people directly. I really want to touch on this 3 flavor sham for popsicle combo because everybody that I know, just like you said, swears by the old information. Is like you have to play 4 popsicle plus items plus flavor sham, otherwise you're not winning. Or my favorite is I only lost because I didn't see flavor sham. Ooh, I hear everybody say that. I hear
Yeah. Oh
everybody
my
say that.
god.
You did something different here. And I do think that you might change the deck building in Lorcana because you can probably play this little flavor sand package in a lot of decks just to have something to heal your characters and potentially draw. You mentioned playtesting and your team and stuff. You have that really wonderful Twitter thread, but there's something I wanted to touch upon. How do you go about play testing when building a deck like this? Like I'm sure you have friends you play with, but what are some tips and tricks that you can provide to the people to maybe get them to understand a little bit behind the mind on how you not only like built this deck but just practice before the tournament? Because obviously theory is one thing, we have to be able to apply it too, right?
But general testing, what I like to do is first I theorize about the deck. Here in this case, how many high rooms I want to play, how many uninkables, because I know because this is where I use old knowledge. I know how the unink works, like at which numbers. I'm kind of fine with 14, but I still will see hands or like have games where I'm forced to ink the good cards, right? Like sometimes you are forced to ink your sharks and the manas. And that's why in this list is only 8 uninkables, basically. People right now, I saw infinite builds now where they went back to 10, 11 because they want to play the tech cards. So I'm like, every time they ask me, is it fine? Is it fine? I'm like, no, it's not. Like I designed this deck literally at 8 unlinks
No.
because there's a secret unlink in this deck, and that's literally almost all cards are basically unlinkable when you reach like 6, 7 ink. Because you don't want to ink your sharks, you don't want to ink your manas, you don't want to ink your pirates life, you don't want to ink your roofs, you don't want to ink your legos if possible. You don't want to ink like so many, even the sales, you don't want to ink Tipo. It's okay, but sometimes you also want to just play out the Tipo and have him as a one lore body. Like so many cards are uninkable, like that's what I mean. So I kind of solved the problem of red blue that is too much unink for many people, like the average, right? So that's good. But on the other hand, if you don't know how to play it, the unink count is still there, but it's secret. You cannot see the unlinks, right? But the deck is literally like 20 unlinks, but you have to adjust. And for the testing, I realized it really quick that I have to play completely different. So I started just jamming games on different websites, right? And playtest a lot. I just jammed games to not really find out is Goofy good or is Maui good or whatever, because I knew they were good. It's not hard to see, that Goofy is good because Goofy is basically a 3 cost, right? Because normally you should ram. You're hard mulligan for the ram. So let's assume we always have the ram. So basically on turn 3 you drop the Goof. So basically he's a 3 drop. And when you're on the draw, and play a 3 drop rush character, he can always challenge the 1 or 2 cost. And when you look at all the 1 and 2 costs that are being played, besides Daisy, Goofy can challenge almost everything and banishes it. So he's insanely good. He will survive the trade, and especially if you heal him up, he will probably survive everything afterwards. And then you can sing Hafago or so. So I don't have to test that Goofy is good or Maui. I immediately decide that I want to run both at 4 off as a 4 off because in this meta that is this fast, you need to maximize your on the draw potential, not on the play, because every deck should win on the play, otherwise it's not a good deck. So yeah, I try to maximize that potential, and then I just jam games because I needed to find out the lines. If you develop like a new strategy or a new deck like this, and the lines are not known, the most important thing is like, what do I keep from the mulligan? What do I keep against each deck? What do I start inking? Because that is the difficult part, right? Let's say a cool line that I found, it was like Maui plus mana. This seems like a bit unusual, but in this deck, you ignore your opponent's Hiram literally. And what you can do is like turn 3 on the play, after they went Hiram and draw 2, you develop your mana. And now they have 2 choices. Normally they exert Hiram again, right? For like Halfago or like an item, draw 2. And then they can either slam down like another Maui or like Tala or whatnot. Normally what happened quite a lot was they use Halfago. So they played an item, drew another 2 with Hiram, hardcast Halfago. And then what I did was rush Maui, challenge the Hiram. Now they got infinite cards, of course, but the mana is ticking. And now I have a rush Maui on field, which they will never get rid of. For example, because they will never summon their own Maui to get rid of my Maui. So that will stick. And next turn, what I can do is summon Shark, sing Hafago, or sing Lego, whatever. And now my opponent's like super behind because I have like Shark and mana, and now they have 2 problems that are in a way so layered you cannot one-shot both, right? There's no B prep for location and character, so they have to decide what they are going to go for, because if they go for the mana, I would just continue playing the Shark until I get more manas or until they get rid of the Shark, and then I back up double mana, which you saw on the stream. And this is the layered attack that I found out, that you have so many different lines to go through. And yeah, during testing, I concentrate on just finding the lines, finding what I can mulligan and what I can ink in each situation. And after roughly like 400, 500 matches, I found all my lines that I wanted to know. There's still some lines I improvise, but I don't mind that much because it's like super niche. And else, I still do my play test against myself thingy, where I just wanna see where's like the checkpoint, like where's like the curve that I cannot beat, because I cannot beat everything, obviously. Otherwise, I would be tier 0 best deck. Nothing can beat me. But let's say diggy hole. If they start a certain curve, I literally cannot beat it. But that's fine. Like I tried and tried. Like at which curve I can stop them, and I figured it out. Like basically any curve where they don't play Daisy, I can beat them. Like I have a high chance to beat them. But if they start Daisy, Smee Orange, I can still beat it, but if they go like Daisy, Smee, another 1-drop plus Lilo, whatever, like something like this, that's getting rough. If they can keep following up. But that's fine for me because it's a 2-game format, right? So I can take the draw. Like that deck cannot beat me on the play. Like if I'm on the play, it's literally impossible. If I don't miss ramp, it is almost impossible to beat me because I play 4 Pirates left. Like I will drag them down by the law, right? They won't be fast enough, and I will just start dragging them down. And then that was my plan, like getting just the highest seed as possible, which funny enough worked out, and go from there to be on the play. My deck is like an on the play monster. Like if you saw on the stream, like it's just doing unfair stuff, like double ramp to Shark. It's crazy. Just controlling the
No,
board, even going Tala, Maui, Shark, that's so strong
turn 4
because
Maui Shark is just unfair.
Yeah,
I
it's really
don't think
unfair.
anyone can.
Nope.
Turn 4 Maui Shark is literally oppressive, and there's a reason why people have to build like decks around it or to beat it essentially, right? And by far your deck is the best deck to showcase that. A lot of people have tried like the Shark with like strategies like red purple, and honestly, just dropping it on turn 6 is a little too slow. People are actually having to think about Goofy now. I know I was questing with Cinderella constantly as an Amber Steel player, but now I actually need to consider: do I quest or do I lose to a Goofy? Like and that's a
funny
card
thing.
that's a card I don't want to respect, but I have to.
The goof is also really strong into Flynn, right? And now people shouldn't quest with Flynn, but before Goofy was super popular, you should always quest with Flynn because if the normal answer to Flynn Sisu is Brawl. So if you don't quest with Flynn, you literally give your opponent like a law for no reason, right? So you always have to quest. So what I did at the DLC was I inked my Tipo to play out the sale. So my board is empty, so my opponent is even more enticed to quest with Flynn, and they did. I just hit them with the goof. It was so funny.
Oh
So they
wow.
quest out, played Sisu.
Yeah,
I
because
hit them with the goof,
even if you have like Queen
and
of
then it was just
Hearts,
nuts.
even if it was like Queen of Hearts instead, I'd be like, oh, he's gonna go off curve, so it's fine. But you play Goofy on curve and you hit the
Yeah.
Flynn. That's so disrespectful. In your Twitter thread, you've mentioned how you can play test with friends open-handedly. You can start off with the best curves. You know, like you were saying, you played against like the best curve with Diggy Hole just to see like, can I beat this deck if they open up the nuts? Things like that help a lot. I think they're really good. You also mentioned something about how you don't want to encourage people getting away with playing a bunch of games for no reason. Like it sounds like when you said you were grinding out those games online, you had like an agenda. You were like, let me just grind out as many games as I can to find lines I may not have seen before. I imagine you probably wrote a bunch of stuff down. But yeah, can you explain just briefly, really quick, like what do you mean like play testing without having like set like a game plan behind that?
Yeah, so of course you can always jam games just to jam games, to have fun with your friends, have fun with your group. That's important to keep like the fun in the game, to keep the group dynamic, right? Just play. But when you say let's sit down and test, especially if you're a bigger group, because that gets like a bit messy and everybody wants something different, right? You need like an agenda. You need something to reach like a goal together, like a goal for the day, basically, or whatever. And that is something that I saw a lot when I just were chilling with guys like at Airbnbs, whatever, right? Or like during testing or in Yu-Gi-Oh! And other TCGs. I always saw that, and that's like just jamming games, jamming. Let's test, and then they jam games. I'm like, what's the point here? Like you're also not even playing optimal. Like since so many times they were misplaying and jamming games. That's even worse.
Like what
And
exactly are you
you just
testing?
waste, huh?
It's like what exactly are you testing?
Yeah, exactly. Like they want to jam games. Like yeah, that's fine. But if you say you want to test, let's sit down and decide. Okay, what do we want to figure out? Like, do we just want to figure out the matchup and then just get a feeling? Okay, then let's jam games. But normally that shouldn't be like the main thing what you do during testing. You have to figure out the curves. You have to figure out is that card even efficient? Because again, old knowledge is big. Every single time there's a meta shift or new set, you have to rethink your cards. You have to rethink the purpose of cards because what happens quite often is like people have a fixed opinion or like they use an opinion that is being spread on YouTube, whatever, on something. You see it a lot when people talk about my deck or whatever. They talk about so many stuff that it doesn't apply anymore. Um, like how Sisu is really good into aggro. And like, bro, if a Ember Steel player is really good, there will be only 3 attack characters or higher on the board when you can Sisu. So Sisu most time can only hit like 1, 2 things, and that's it. So that's like old knowledge. Like right now, they play so hard around it. I also realize it. And yeah, when you play test, I wrote on my Twitter. I will post more about it. Yeah, do it open-handedly. Take the best curve directly in the hand, or take tech cards directly in the hand when you need them to see the efficiency. Test when you jam games. Note down stuff. Like I try to figure out what I wanted to mulligan for and what I needed to keep, right? So what I did was after like during playtesting, I wrote everything down. If I'm on the draw, on the play, what was inked, what was the first 3 characters, where basically the starting of my opponent. I wrote literally everything down. I have like, I don't know, 20, 30 pages of document. I don't even know anymore. I haven't looked in a while, but after a while I just analyze them, read through, note down again, like, well, what do you call in English? Like, summarize it into smaller bits, so I can see, oh, against this and this matchups, I have to be careful. I have to start mulligan differently, and this works, this doesn't work, and it's all about time efficiency because in the end, we only have so much time. There's a bit philosophical, right? Like we only have so much time in life. Work, family.
Kevin and I always talk about how much of a blessing and how lucky we are to be able to indulge in a hobby and have these sort of opportunities for us, right? Because like so many people are having very little time making ends meet, and shout outs to anybody that's making time for their hobbies and making time to be a part of a community, because it's tough. You have to take care of yourself. You're number one before anything else. And I always tell people, like, hey, if you got anything else better or that you need to do, go do that. Card games will always be here for you, right? Like it's always going to be an option. You always are able to come back to it. So I'm glad that you touched up on that. And the other thing I kind of want to say is about the testing and preparation. I talk about this all the time whenever I play. I do a play I would never normally make because I want to see what happens in the limit test. That's the point of testing, right? Like you actually need to see all variants and all options. Go ahead and do something that doesn't look correct, because you not only you're going to maybe find out dead certain that was the wrong play and you never do it, right? Or you will see other potential lines that you never would have even had a chance of seeing if you didn't even attempt to make that play. As an Ember Steel player, something I like to do is whenever I test and I quest with Daisy, I say go in your deck and pick any character you want. Pick the character
That's
you want.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fun.
I'm like, just pick a card pick the character you want specifically, put it in your hand, and let's keep playing. If there's anything that needs to stay unrandomized, like let's say how visions or develop your brain, we keep those cards on the bottom, and I tell them like, don't pick any characters that are like from those piles, but pick anything else. Anything that's like potentially legal or available, and go from there, because that's the best way to get some testing. Because most of the time when you quest with Daisy and they don't hit, you're probably going to win anyway, but you need to see what happens when you give them like the absolute like
That's really
best card
smart.
or best answer.
Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to your testing partner. That's important, right? Like the you can learn, like with the open hand, you can learn educated guesses like together. Like you can say develop arguments why you can now play around certain things, right? Why you can do this and that together. And the most important thing there is everybody has to turn off the ego, meaning it's not about winning or losing, right? Like I know that for a fact that people, even during testing, when they lose against their friend too often, they get mad, they get frustrated. But it's not about that. It's about learning together, getting better together. And sometimes you will just figure out that your deck is not it, or you're not the person to play that deck. Then you have to accept it and move on. But then that testing just, basically you found it out, right? So this is really important. Another thing that you mentioned before with the Daisy and so, or like doing a weird play, what I like to do quite often is, let's just remember, don't hand shuffle and so on. Like during testing, try to avoid hand shuffling, because then you can always say, okay, let's put something on hold here. Like let's try this line and let's remember this, and maybe you can rewind to that game state, like 2 turns later, and put your top decks back because you just didn't like hand shuffle, and then you can recreate the game state before and just let's see if I would have won if I did the normal play. This is also really helpful to not get distracted with all the experimental lines. And yeah, this is also really important. Overall, when just playing, just always have an agenda. Like try to find out something. Don't just jam games, even if you are there to jam games, because after a work day or so, still like find a goal that you wanna hit for the day or whatever. And then just play accordingly. Like try to figure out something all the time, right? When I play, like right now I don't have to. Like right now when I play a test or whatever, I just play. But before, I always try to figure out, okay, do I need the 4th Thaler? Do I need, like, I will mark, like, especially if I play test in real life and I want something, let's say, I'm not sure if I should play the second Let It Go or not, right? So I will put like one Let It Go, like face down. Let's take this Medusa and put it in the sleeve. Now I'll play the face down Medusa. I'm just saying, tell my opponent, yo, this one, or like just put whatever in, like maybe like this, the back of the
Or
card.
you
And
can do
just,
a
now I'm
foil
saying,
and a non-foil version too.
yeah, or that non-fall, like whatever. Just mark it somehow legally and say this can be the Let Go or the Thaler, because if you would cut the Let Go, this would be the Thaler either way, right? So exactly this card would be the ambiguous card, like if you do normal testing. So now you can see, okay, what will come up more often. And yeah, that's also what I like to do. Took me a while to just play 2 Let Goes. In the end, I just said I will play 2, but it wasn't something rational. I just said, okay, let's go with 2.
I wanted to go over some quick mulligans, if you're down real quick.
Yeah, sure.
So, DK, you open up these 7 cards. We have double How Far Will Go, double Sail, Develop Your Brain, Make Tuck Manner, and a Pirate's Life. What do you mulligan? I'm just gonna give my guesses. You said you want to keep ramp every time. So do you keep both How Far Will Go and both Sails, or what are you keeping?
So now it depends highly on, do you know the matchup? Don't you know the matchup?
Let's say we
Are
don't know
you
the
gonna play on the
matchup. We're
draw?
going in blind, and we're going
Okay.
first. You're going first because we're
No,
first in
I
Swiss.
can go through every possibility,
Okay.
so you can see how I think.
Okay.
So on the play, you want always a ramp. So you always keep 1 2-cost ramp and a 1-cost if you have both. So basically, develop your brain and seal, because you want to dig through your deck a bit faster. And if you're on the play, I would also keep 1 Hofage, because the chance that you will end up drawing too many Onyx is so low, right? We're playing 8 Onyx. Literally, I cannot think of another deck that plays this amount of Onyx. So we are literally in the most consistent one. So on the play, I would keep it. So you see now, we have so many draws to get a shark. So it would be like the very brain sale, the natural draws, and so on. So and how far go. Like we see so many cards to see a shark. So we can basically say that we see double ram shark. So now let's say you will you also wanna have option to develop a turn 3 mana, which you only do in the mirror match, and that is still a gamble because they can go Tala into Rushmore and that would destroy your tempo. So I wouldn't recommend it, but let's say if you know the mirror match, you maybe can keep the Magdark Mana, but I wouldn't do it. And if you are going second, like on the draw, I would not keep the Haufago, but I keep the Sail blind, because then you can go into double ramp brawl, which is okay if you follow up with Shark or follow up with Rushmore to then follow up with B-Prep. That is fine, but let's say we're going first, so you can keep the Haufago and Sail and just Mulligan for 4. No. The curve of double Sail into Brawl is always worse than Haufago, because you are losing one hand card compared to Haufago. So I would always go for Haufago. There's no deck that is fast enough that it requires me to double ramp Brawl when I'm on the play. Like, it's okay. Like, even if they go to 10 and when I develop my Shark, they will stop questing. I will develop a second Shark, whatnot.
Okay,
And
so
start spamming Pirate's Life.
it sounds like you're really digging for Shark also. That's pretty important.
Yeah, but you see a lot of cards. It's a 4-off, right? So it's totally fine.
Damn. So out of those
Yeah,
four,
see?
we got B-Prep, Maui Shark, Grandma Tala, and a Popsicle.
Yeah.
So we did
Now
see the
you
Shark
have
there.
like
Beautiful.
now we have like a
This
double
looks
one cosplay
beautiful.
for sale, right? Yeah. Grandma Tala, in Grandma Tala, play Popsicle, then play Sale, ink whatever. Develop. Sometimes you have to ink the develop too, because if you don't have enough ink. But it depends on your draws, right? Your next draws. If you normally you don't draw another uninkable until later because you already have 2.
And let's do this new hand, but let's say you know you're playing against Ruby Amethyst. What if you know you're playing against Ruby Amethyst? You're going for. Tell us what you do going first and going second.
Going first, I would try to keep the Shark, because I need to draw any kind of ramp, right? If I draw Tipo, it's fine. If I draw into Sail, it's fine. So I draw into Havago, fine. So I would put away the B-Prep, the Pirate's Life, and the Vision. I keep the 1-drop, the Popsicle. I keep the Groove, because if I don't end up drawing the ramp or Tipo, the only way to get rid of the follower is the Groove. And then, like, you have to imagine the curve, like turn 3, when you can play the Groove, the only exert character on the field is the 1-drop. So if you hit the Broom or like a follower, it's insane. Insane value. Literally insane
yeah, a
value,
lot of
because
value there.
they lost a draw. They literally lost a draw, right? You gain 2. You have a Haufago thing on board. You can hit the 2-drop if you want. You can heal him up with Popsicle if you want. Depends on if you have Haufago and you want him to survive, right? So many things you can do. And that's insane. The only thing that is a bit annoying is Fox, but Fox is such a tempo loss. They need to bounce the 2 cost, and they've just Fox it, and you really don't care. I really like when they do it. And if you're on the draw, I would keep probably the same hand. Like,
No, yeah. So going on a draw in the play, you pretty much keep the same hand. For those reasons.
Yeah.
Okay. So put back 3. See what we got. We grabbed a Manor, another Popsicle, and a Grandma. Okay. How do you
Yeah.
feel about Manor against the Ruby M matchup?
really good. It's like you don't want to develop it early, because every single time you do it, then you will face like all the crabs and foxes and whatnot. But you want to force them to be-prep you, which you easily can with the sharks, right? You spam as many sharks as possible. Like you just start spamming like sharks, talas, because of the shark you just get more time, and because of you get more time, you can develop something like Gramatala and Hyrims afterwards. Like, at some point there's a critical mass on board that they cannot ignore anymore. Let's say do you have like double Tala Maui, a half shark, that's already too much, so they have to do something about it. Or like you top deck into the second shark. Sometimes I'm just doing I develop the second shark just to force a B-prep. Because I know if they B-prep whatever I have right now, I cannot really develop the second shark either way, because they have Tremaines. And it's really difficult to develop a character and shark after a B-prep, because you just don't have enough ink. Literally, when that happens, I'm barely at 8. Maybe with Tipo, but normally I would have ink Tipo at that point. So yeah, it's really, really difficult. So I just put on the second shark and then force him to B-prep you, and then you just double mana. And while they are distracted with the mana, that's the important thing. It's mainly a distraction and gaining you like 2, maybe 4 lore. Sometimes it just wins out because they cannot get rid of it. The important thing is just collect your goofies, collect your pirate's life, because they are distracted. They have to go. They cannot do gold bounce, whatever. They have to get rid of the manas, right? This is a clock. So in that time, in the meantime, you're just like, let's go shopping. Let's take the goose. Let's take the pirate's life.
Let's go
Now,
shopping.
I got one quick question because there are some Ruby red blue players that are in our testing circle and our team as well. What are you going to want to ink turn one, knowing against this is red purple? What do you ink right here with this? What we're looking at with not knowledge of what the popsicle draw is, just turn one ink. What are we inking?
Probably Tala, because I want the popsicles up just for future Hyrims. I don't never expect Hyrim to stick, but right, I play 3 Hyrims. At some point, I would just draw into my second one and just draw 2 more. And I prefer to go into the popsicles because in my head, I would probably hit the 1-drop, right? There's no way they will just take out the 1-drop. And if they do, I'm also fine with that. If they just say, oh, I would take out my 1-drop for no reason to dodge a goof, I'm like, okay, now I don't have to play out my goof, and you just get rid of the
It did its
one
job.
caster yourself.
Yeah, and if you have Fargo, you just play Fargo instead.
Yeah, exactly. So there's so many draws, right? I play multiple tiles. I play Hiram. Even Hiram at that point is also fine. Like if they sack the 1-drop because they want to play around goof, I have time to play Hiram, right? Because I'm not doing anything else either way. So I can do that. Afterwards, I have like so many cards to draw and on for the 5 ink turn, like Maui's. If they get rid of my Hiram by using Brawl, now I can get rid of that 2-drop any 2-drop that quests out, right? That's really good. And one thing to note about my deck, what do I want to say? I kind of forgot it. Maybe I remember.
Let's do this next one real quick. Last one. Let's say you're playing against a green-purple deck or an amber-steel aggro deck.
And you're on the
This is
draw.
rough.
Yeah. We'll both on the draw. Yeah.
Okay. This is a bit rough because we don't have our early curve like Tipo and Goofy already. When you're on the play, again, even if you know that's green purple, I would probably just go like Sail, Maui, Alfargo, Rush Maui, and get rid of. I would keep Rush Maui and Alfargo, and just go. And the curve would be ramp into Shark, and then now they have 2 decisions. If you double ramp to Shark, keep the Shark. You have 2. Yeah, you have 2 decisions. I mean, it's inkable at least, but they have 2 decisions if you hyper ram to Shark. They stop questing, then it's fine, or they don't stop questing. And now you need the Rush Maui and the Shark Maui to slam into stuff to get the tempo back. So that's why that would be the curve. Now you only want to draw like inkables. If you draw into the goof, it's also fine. Then you go like probably go Sail Maui, Sail, Goof, Rush Maui, Half Shark, and one of them will sing Halfargo when you drop down the Half Shark and gain 1 law. That's what you can do. On the draw, you probably only keep Sail and Rush Maui and hope that you draw into Tipo or Goof. We can do that because it's more cards. Yeah, these 2. Because you need the Rush characters. Now you can Mulligan for 5.
Okay, I like that. So if you're going first and you have like that line, you're trying to go into a curve of like Sail into a Maui. Hopefully find a goof so you can go Sail Maui, Sail goof Maui. And if you're going second, you're saying it's not worth the risk. You'd rather just keep we're gonna ramp into this Maui play. Hope to see Super Goof and Tipo to contest some of these aggro decks. Let's see what we get by putting back, what is this, 5 cards? Oh, look, we got a Super Goof and a Tipo. Wow, it's like everything he's
Easy.
preaching. everything you're preaching is coming to life, man. Definitely knows what he's talking
I
about.
understand it now.
Yeah, it's clicking. It's clicking for me too, man. It's clicking for me too. I appreciate this. Like what we're saying, guys.
It's a playset, right?
Uh-huh.
I think it's a playset.
Yep, love to see it. Love to see it. Okay, so like you said, you're going against a green purple aggro or amber steel aggro. You go first. What are you inking? What do you play here? Yeah, it's on the draw.
Since
Sorry,
I'm
on the draw.
Yeah, mana, 100% mana. Like you won't develop it until like I don't know 8 turns later. So get rid of that.
Assume you draw a B prep for a turn, so that way you don't have to doesn't change your inking decision.
Yeah,
so
mana,
even
100% mana.
Okay.
You keep Sail as long as possible because there's a possibility you go into Broad, but probably not. Probably the next ink will be Sail because I would like instead going into depends on the curve, of course. If they go too many evasive characters, you can try. Normally they don't play that version that often. Let's say they don't have evasive, they only have like normal characters. Then you just always go Popsicle, Tipo, Goofy, Maui. That would turn off everything they throw out. It's a bit rough when they have like multiple Merfolks because you have to discard, but it's fine. One thing to note is against literally every deck besides Green Steel, Tipo is the go-to. Like, you don't go for the sale. That's so simple. Like, always go for Tipo. There's two things. On the draw, you trade all the 1-drops and 2-drops. Not 2-drops, but multiple one-offs, right? 1-drops. And on the play, that little guy will give you 4 to 6 lore. People don't really realize it. It's literally 4 to 6 lore. Just imagine a card that says cost 2, rams you, and gives you 4 to 6 lore. I'm like, you can rewatch my stream. Like, every time I went for Tipo, my opponent went for Say. I'm like, sure. Keep your hand cards, keep your 10 hand cards. Like, the French guy and the other guy, like, they all have like 8, 10 hand cards against me. I'm like, sure, keep your hand cards. I don't care.
Like, this T-Po's going in.
My little guy will like just turn sideways, turn sideways, turn sideways.
I like that.
Each turn they have Shark Maui and I have mana out. I just quest because they have to hit the mana either way. Like, they cannot hit my Tipo, so I just quest out. They hit the mana, and at some point they just get rid of it. I just Tipo quest. And that's so
you
funny.
also mentioned too that it's good Tremaine bait, or it's good to like leave out and play when you're playing against other Ruby decks or Ruby Am too. So yeah, the Tipo is definitely carrying a lot of weight. There's also very little characters you play in this deck too. So I think it's important to remember that all the lore gain that you get, the small little bits, does add up over time. It's just like playing an aggro deck, where just questing for as little bits of lore as you can, keeping your 1-drops in play for as long as you can. Same thing can apply here for Tipo.
Exactly. So that's really, really good.
Really, you should call this deck Tipo control, in my opinion, like that. Because if you're telling, if you're telling me that you go Tipo, because for the most part, all the red blue players that I've talked to, like that weren't playing your list before this weekend, have told me, oh yeah, you always want to go Sail turn 2. Sail is way better than Tipo, and it's like it's a whole different strategy, man.
I mean, in normal control, Sail is better because the lore in normal control doesn't matter, right? When you play normal blue, but in this deck, if you are getting a head start by like 4 lore from that Tipo, that's insane. Like, just imagine how much hassle I have to do for 4 lore in the late game by summoning 2 Goofs, or like spending like 10 ink for Goof plus Pirate's Life or double Pirate's Life. Like, so much hassle to get the 2 lore, to get the 4 lore. And he's just chilling since turn 2 and just questing out every time.
And no one's gonna trade into it. Like, no one.
You can, because
like
you have to
a Calhoun, right? Yeah. Like, well,
no, Calhoun
will decide
they would trade
to get rid of it. No, they won't really decide to trade into it unless they're playing something like a Calhoun, right? Like, most people will ignore an exerted Tipo and just quest with their own characters.
I'm not talking about the other decks will trade, but I'm just talking about strictly about the mirror match, because even with Talat you cannot trade, because 99% of the time when I just say, yeah, even if you trade, I don't care. I stop 1 lore of you. It maybe might matter later, because there's no point in keeping Tipo ready. Always exert in the mirror. Maybe play around Tremaine, but also you probably will have a second character next to it either way, like another Tala or whatever. But they will sing. Every time I had it, they would sing How Far Ago, and they did. And then the turn afterwards, I quested, but then they sang again. I'm like, sure, just keep singing. I will quest, have infinite ink, have infinite hand cards. I'm at 6 ink, 2 hand cards there, like 11, 10 hand cards, and they will still lose because I would just finish the game, because the point of the game is not, who has the bigger hand, who has the better resource management, right? No, it's just who has 20 lore, and that's it. That's the truth behind all this.
I have a question now, just probably the last one about the Tipo. With your deck list being a lot more popular now that it's available and out there, do you think that questing with Tipo is a liability with Super Goof in the format?
If it's the mirror match, like the actual mirror match, there's other intricacies. Like there's other stuff. I haven't figured out the mirror match really much, because literally, like, the only guy who I would face was my Italian friend, right? But I think he wasn't in my bracket. I think we would have faced in the finals either way. So I was like, I don't worry about the mirror match. I literally didn't worry. I did play a bit of mana, like Shark Burn, but not this build, but in general Shark Burn. It was literally, we both mulligan for manas, and the field was literally against Reese, fine enough. At the European Continentals, our board was mana. So we had 3 mana staring down. And you have to check the math, because sometimes the other guy wins because you just hit 1 goof earlier or whatever. But it was just mana beatdowns. It was so boring. And yeah, one thing to note that people that Zan talked about in his podcast, Artabugs and so on, is in open deck list. They say my deck list, and Sailor too, my deck list should get weaker. But the funny thing is, just gets stronger. It just gets stronger until they really understand how the deck works. And let's say for this DLC, it just got infinitely strong because now what do people do when they see, oh no, he's on 4 mana? They keep mana stuff. And what do? I don't drop mana after before Shark normally, right? So that means they're keeping all their anti-mana stuff. And what do they ink? Because you still have to ink. So they ink the other good cards that were good in the mid game, and suddenly they have the anti-mana cards, but I don't play out mana. At some point they have to ink the anti-mana cards because you can only hold it for so long, right? And then that's the point where I just strike with my mana. And it worked against Red Purple. Like I won against Red Purple all the time on game 1. Game 2, they try to hold the Mauis, and so I'm like, bro, hold it as long as you want. I go double Shark first. At some point you have to ink it, or they started to ink all their good cards. And that's why it's really strong in the open deck list. Like really, really strong. It's only getting worse when people really tech specifically for this deck, which they do right now, but it will fade out because every tech that you put in against this decks makes your deck infinitely worse into other decks, right? Now they're playing like Dragonfire and so on. It's a fine, it's okay card, but in general, the card is not great, right? Or they play like Be King Undisputed again, like sure, play it for a while, and then you realize you will lose against other matchups because of these cards, because they are all uninkable, right? So you will suffer from playing these cards, and then I will play again.
It looking like your deck did what it needed to do. You know, you had a game plan, you stuck to that game plan, and you executed it every round up until the finals. And your finals was a blue-red mirror against Clement. He is a French player, if I'm not mistaken, and his deck was very standard red-blue, aside from him playing Fishbone Quill and cards like that. But day 2, you know, how did you feel? You obviously you wanted to be first in Swiss. You could have the highest seed, and you got to go first basically the whole tournament. But when you got to the finals, the Switch chat was going crazy. By the way, everybody
Really?
wanted to see Din win. Yes, dude, everybody wanted to see you win for obvious reasons, as we all know right now. Not many people are a big fan of your opponent in the finals. But I strictly want to talk about just your mentality and your win and how you went into that final match, knowing you had to play against the mirror. You had to play against the
Mhm.
mirror match of a player who is not only well known, but who's someone who knows your deck list because you guys are sharing deck lists. And a lot of people tend to say, oh, if they know you're playing the goof, if they know you're playing the manners, and they're gonna play around that kind of stuff. But you mentioned to us personally that you actually felt very confident, that you were kind of like, you know what, I want to play this guy's list in the finals. But didn't like
Yeah.
the hero you were. You were able to clutch it out in game 5. But what was going on through your mind on that final match?
When I went into the tournament, I was like, I was really nervous because it's my last shot, right? But on the other hand, I'm like, I'm here to have fun. When it started, the first game, literally the first game of day 1, was like the hardest because it would determine like the momentum you have, right? If you start 2-0, wow, you feel great. You're like 1 in already. Because of the number, you need only four wins to really be in the top cut at all, right? 4-1-4. So 25% done, right? Of the entire day with the first match. Or you draw. Worst case, you get 0-2'd. If you get 0-2'd in the first round, man, your mood is done. Like you're like, oh. Even though you
I
know
only
the
want to.
field
I
is,
want to interject. It does. I thought about it now that you said it. I have 2-0'd every round 1 of the DLC. So you're right. That momentum is important. You feel very
yeah,
good.
you feel really great. Doesn't matter if you really end up topping or not, you just feel great, right? And that was really important. So I 2-0'd the first one. I was like, yeah, let's go. And then I faced my like the weirdest matchup because I kept losing against it. The At the start of set 6 was like Ember Steel Location, hyper aggro. I'm like, oh no, but this time, 4 Goof, 4 Rush Maui, no problem. Like the locations stick for 1 round. Like I one shot every single location my opponent put out. So yeah, finished the game and worked out every single time. So I had my 5-0 run. When I had my 6-0, I was like, okay, I go for the 9-0. Like you guys encouraged me too. Like right, you said go for the 9-0. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it. So, but I still tried to play the 8 rounds for like a 7-0-2. Again, I drew again against Ben Simmons, the third place, there, which I beat on stream. So we had our match already. And yeah, the last one I did against the French guy because I was too tired to play and I knew his list. I knew that I would beat him, but yeah, I was just too tired. I didn't want to play anymore.
You saved
So-
that win for the finals because you kept him at second seed, which means you would only have...
Technically, I'm on the play, and his deck literally doesn't play Maui, so I'm like, yeah, so yeah, him in second place is not non-beneficial, right? So like, yeah, in day 2, of course, again, top 64, super nervous on stream. You guys know the curse, right? Zach Bivens got hit by the curse. Like many other players got hit by the curse. I'm like, I gotta beat the curse. 2-0 and on stream, perfect. Beat the curse. Then top 32 was also hard. It was hard. I played against a really, really strong purple steel player, and he played out of his mind. Like, you guys don't even understand what I mean. He plays 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, 4 drop. Guess what he did? Guess it, guys. Just guess it.
Like the actual characters, like what characters they were? Was it?
No, what he did. So he has like 4 characters.
Yeah.
What did he do?
His quest with all of them?
No, he didn't quest at all. He has zero law for both games for like, I don't know, 6-7 turns. He didn't quest. I'm sitting there with my rush characters. I'm like, what am I
Okay,
going
yeah,
to
I
do?
get you. Okay. So, because you guys are sharing lists, so he saw your goof and he saw your Mauis, and he's like,
Yeah,
I'm just
and
not
also
going to
he
give you the
played-
value.
Yeah, he played against my friend, the Italian player Daniel. He literally played the same list, and he played him on Swiss, and he beat him 2-0. So first was scary because they told me, oh, I lost against him, yeah, 2-0. I'm like, oh, okay. I looked at his list, dog list without dog. It didn't play dog. It didn't play something else. I don't remember, but it was like library, 4 Zeus, 4 strength, base stock list, like mid-rangey stock list. But the way he played, I've never seen before. He just didn't quest. So he played perfectly around my Goof and Maui. He played perfectly in a way that now his board, if I B-prep him, he will draw cards, like, right, Rabbit, Diablo. And if I set up a Shark, he would just one-shot it with Strength or Zeus, because he always had 5 characters, nobody quested. He played like the control game, like, not the control game, he played the slowest game ever. Like, if he plays that, like, that deck can literally go into timeout. But against me, bad thing for him, he drew 0 Strength or Zeus. My Sharks stick for 5 rounds or so, and he just lost. Game 2, he started with Diablo, Calhoun, Crab, Goat. Basically has 0 hand cards almost, because he had to play cards that literally didn't cycle. And again, he didn't quest because I had characters, like, my board was full of characters like Tipo, Tala, Maui. So he couldn't even quest. I would have traded everything away. So it was over at that point. So I 2-0 that. Match that was really close was against one of the French guys in top 8. They played the same list, and I lost on the play. That was ridiculous how bad I drew. Like, I had insane start, but I drew so bad in the mid game, where we ended up, I had 18 or 19, and he had, I didn't know if he had lethal or not, but he was about to. And yeah, I was just one top deck off, because my next top deck was Pirate's Life to finish him off, and I was like, no way. And then I lost. I won on the play again. And then on the draw, I'm like, whew, this is getting close, right? Now I have to play game 3 on the draw. He missed his ramp after full mulligan. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, because I went double ramp into double shark. He also went double shark, but he had 0 actions. I had like high ramp, bam, bam, action, bam, bam, bam. I went to like 16 or so directly, and he couldn't do anything. Like, even if he had B prep, I would have mannered him. So I was like, when he missed ram, I'm like, okay, this is over, literally over. Then I was top 4, really happy to be there, right? I won the Mickey, but fun fact, Like it was the first time I reached top 4 at all, right? I went top 8 twice already. I fought for the Mickey Mouse 3 times in total. I won it 1 time. This time, this is the 4th time I fought for a Mickey. I won it. By the way, the Mickey.
What number is like 2 something, right?
What number?
200 something.
287 random number. But the thing is, I literally didn't care. I felt bad for the guy because he missed ramp, and I was hyped to be fighting for worlds. I literally didn't think about this. It was so funny. After a while, I'm like, oh, I won a Mickey, right? I'm like, it's cool, of course. Like, don't get me wrong, it's really cool. Now I really like it. I will keep it. I'll probably play it the next set champ or whatever tournament.
You're gonna play
You're
with
gonna
it?
play
You're gonna
it?
play it? You're ridiculous.
61st card, bro. It's
no,
bro,
No,
you gotta triple
way.
sleeve
Oh,
that.
no,
No, wait, you
Quadruple
can't.
sleeve
You
that.
can't play it. That's
No.
not a ruby card. That's a golden card. You can't have more than 2 colors in your deck. That doesn't work.
That's
bro.
amber. That card's
No,
technically
it's follow,
amber.
It's follow.
Yeah, that's an
It's follow.
amber. That's
Okay,
an
I
amber.
will play Amber deck.
There's no way. There's no way you're
I
gonna
would
play it in
let
your
somebody.
deck.
I would let somebody play a golden Mickey in an amber colored deck. I would say that's fine. I'll allow it.
You know what you should do? You should just like find a random kid and be like, "Hey, play this in
Mufasa.
your find a random kid and be like, "Hey, double sleeve your deck and play this in
Bro.
your deck," and then watch somebody play it.
Dude, it's gonna come back.
Mufasa
more.
effect. Pham.
That's crazy. You're insane. It's just gonna be the one card in the top loader from the 60.
No, they're gonna play Maui
Kicking out
Shark.
of the deck, you mean?
They're gonna play Maui Shark. You're gonna play that and be like, I could test your shark.
People are gonna be like,
Is
"Can I?"
it-
People are
is it
like, "Can I
like-
read that?" And be like, "No, you
is
can't.
it-
You can't read it. Sorry."
No, you mean like this?
Oh yeah, there you go. Just be like, yeah, that's. I swear
That's
it's
so good.
random. I swear it's random.
Oh,
you're
yeah.
you're maniac.
Yo,
You're a
yo,
maniac.
Huh?
Yeah. Oh, I just want to say, like, you won the Mickey, and I even remember thinking in my head, I'm like, Din's not done. Din
Yeah.
wants to win the next match, and after you did, you did the It's like, I was so happy for you, bro. I was so happy for you.
Yeah, so like the Mickey literally was like, whatever, right? Whatever. We are here for worlds. Like so many people came to me and like, Mickey's top 4. I'm like, all right. Or like, you need this and this pricing to break even. I'm like, bro, I'm not here to break even. I'm not here to make money. I'm literally here for worlds. It's the final or bust.
Yeah.
If I win,
Yep.
if I lose the top 4, I literally don't care about the Mickey. Like literally, well, what can I do with the Mickey? I wanted to go to World. That was the goal. So, yeah, getting Mickey is really cool, but it wasn't the goal. So I locked in for game 4, top 4, and that was the match, right? The finals was also great and important, but the top 4, man, you guys don't know. I inked wrong. I inked the Pirate's Life, and I regret the second I put it into the inkwell. I'm like, please don't be too fast. And then I top decked the third one because I inked 2. I think 2 Pirate's Life for him. Like I top decked another one. Like
You played against
But that was-
Ben, right?
yeah, I would have lost the game 1. I'm like, that was nerve wracking. And this was the important match, and it was kind of difficult, the game 1. Game 2 was whatever. I knew I was losing when he opened the curve. Like turn 3, I already knew I was losing. But I still tried. Maybe he bricked or forget to quest or whatever. And game 3, I was just praying. You guys didn't even know. I was just praying, please, get me ramp. I don't remember if I full shoved my hand there. Like
I think you
Mulligan
did.
7.
I think you did because I do remember that was like my first I do remember my reaction to seeing how fast you were to just be like 7 cards back. Give me 7 new cards.
Yeah. If you don't see the ram, you just shove it. You can think about keeping the one drop, but the theory behind it is I play 8 1-drops, right? So the likelihood to, if I, let's say, draw a develop your brain, most people would keep it. And the math behind it is just, if you keep it, if you keep it, you can use it and turn around, right? But then you gave up an extra draw. So let's say you don't keep it, you get an extra draw. But the develop your brain is worth basically 2 draws. But the thing is, since I'm playing, having 7 other 1-drops, now the math is roughly 94% or so to hit a 1-drop or the ramp after Mulligan 7. So this is quite high. So I either hit another 1-drop, which essentially means now I get to, if it's a developer brain, I get to see 3 extra draws instead of only 2, right? Because I gave up the developer brain, plus the developer brain will show me 2 more cards. If I get the popsicle, it's literally the same as keeping the develop your brains. The math is a little bit off, like point whatever percent, because you shuffle your deck, but it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And yeah, if you get ramp, you get ramp. So it's more important to have ramp than risking not having ramp just because you want a one drop into ramp, right? So yeah, just full shove. At least my deck, right? 8 unlings, you don't brick. Like normally, mathematically, you are not possible to brick. It's only possible if you draw like, I don't know, 3 Halfago, 2 B-Preps or something. But it shouldn't be possible. And yeah, I just prayed. I got the RAM. I got everything I needed. And you saw me. Yeah, I cheered a bit. I didn't want to cheer, to be honest. But I think it was, yeah.
I think it was appropriate. You were into it. You were
They
hyped.
literally told me to not cheer after when I win the finals. They literally told me to not cheer. I'm like, okay, I won't cheer.
You're like, oops. Yeah, I wasn't malicious.
Man,
Like you were just
hard.
hyped, bro. Yeah,
that's
you weren't.
That's hard.
Yeah,
No, that's hard not to cheer, bro. Like, are you kidding? I understand why they preferred you not to, and I think it's excusable or completely appropriate.
Yeah, they told me it's totally understandable, but they said, please don't do it. Keep it for the ceremony. I'm like, yeah, it was fine. And then yeah, the finals, I went in, right. I beat the one of them already. My deck was like, it's a monster and on the play. And I saw the deck. I'm like, yo, if I go mana, it should be possible, right? Or like at least they just don't have enough stuff. They cannot one shot. So if I like go mana early, it depends on my hand. I would just go with the flow. Or I go double ram shark. They cannot one shot me if I forced them to be prep me. So that's what I did. Like I just went mana, I think, in the game 1, and then I just gain lore, and finish off with Pirate's Life and Goof. Game 2, my opponent misplayed. He could have won that with the Pirate's Life if he just took the Pirate's Life ink twice or even one time and played. But he was so focused on the dime that he found the dime, took it, and he was frustrated that he didn't get it earlier. And he didn't see the line to win. Well, that's fine. Like, we take it, right? Game 3, though, that was insane. I was so sure that I was winning. I think everybody was when I showed my hand to the cam because I had like manas up. I have like 4 or 5 burn cards, like gain 2 lore in my hand. And the only way I was losing is when he like double Pirate's Life me and kept me off the board because that's what he did. I was at 19 and I couldn't draw another burn card. And I'm like, no way, I'm losing. I'm not getting the 3-0 sweep, right? And it was a bit frustrating because I knew I was so ahead, but I couldn't finish off. I was at 19. Then game 4, I don't really remember what happened game 4, but I lost that too. I'm like, uh-oh. Reverse sweep. That didn't feel that great. But in game 5, I just did what I practiced, right? Just play the curve out and hope for the best. And I knew he doesn't have anything for the mana, so I just went with whatever I got. I don't remember if I went shark or mana first, but the mana sticked for a long time. When he was about to out it, I had the second and the third one, and I just played Protect the Mana. And at some point, it wasn't even playing Protect the Mana anymore. It was just putting Tala out, I think, and pressured him with 3 ways. Like he had to kill to banish the Tala and the Mask to survive, and I had a Pirate's Life and the B prep in my hand. So it's like at that point, you know, it's only over when they shake your hand, right? Then it's over. But at that point, I already know, damn, I'm a champion, because there's no way that he will win. The same was in top 4, right? When my opponent, I had, what was it, like double shark mana. I literally game on board. Doesn't matter what he do, and he can only quest out to 13, right? There's no way they can win. Even if they beat me, I just quest and win, because I think it was at 19 or whatever. So there was no way that he was winning. And that feeling is so great, like, you know?
In game 3 and top 4, I remember the match wasn't over on stream, and I literally put in our group chat, I'm like, oh, Din's going to Worlds. Like, the match wasn't even over. It wasn't even over in the next turn or two. But I looked at the situation, and I was like, Amber Steel cannot win. Din's going to Worlds. I've been in that situation before. I know that that's impossible to win. And yeah, it was. I couldn't stay up late enough to watch you win the finals, but I not only had confidence you were winning, I was like, even if he can lose, he's going to Worlds, and that's what he
Yeah,
wanted.
right.
He got what he wanted.
But
Yeah.
but the thing is still the second place is a bit weird and unthankful, like ungrateful, because it's like nobody remembers really much the second place, right? So
I
first
remember.
place
Yeah.
I
was
mean,
kind of cool,
I mean, in
important.
this scenario, a lot of people remember the second place,
With
unfortunately.
a lot
Yeah,
of
sure, sure, sure.
context, everyone wanted Din to win, but like it would your second place it probably would have triumphed the first place if it went the other way, but it didn't. We're sitting here interviewing the champion for a reason.
Yeah, man. Can we see the trophy real quick? Ooh, there it is. Lorcana
What is
challenge.
it? Is that plastic? Is it metal? What is it?
The
Is it
front
is it
here, the front plate is metal. Everything around it is plastic, but it feels solid. Like it's really solid plastic. It's not. I think it's not really painted on. I don't know. Like there are some bruises here, and there's unfortunately like two, I think. But you cannot see another color on it. It's literally all yellow, so it's really nice.
Ravensburger, get my
Still.
boy right. Send him a fresh, brand new one that looks pristine.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's really good. And cool thing is it says 2025 in the front.
Oh,
That's
that's
also
the yeah,
kind of unique.
the first challenge trophy with 25 on it. Nice, nice. Love to see it, man. Din, thanks so much for giving us your time, explaining your deck, your process. You're a champion. You're a Disney Lorcana champion. Super excited
Woo!
for you. Super happy for you. You're going to Worlds, dude. You are going to the World
Yeah,
Tournament. We don't know when that's announced yet. We don't know the format. But either way, man, we're rooting for you. And you obviously teched your deck out to prepare for the rest of the metagame. But that's going to be all for this week's Quest with a Guest as we return to this series with our newest DLC champion, Din a little lore con Pham over here, man. Yeah. Once again, I'd really appreciate the time you took with us. We talked for dang near 2 hours about your journey from Lorcana to becoming a champion. Now you're going to Worlds. Any shout outs? Any last final words you want to say before we call it a day, DK?
Yeah, shout out to my team, World Class Cards. Shout out to Lorcana Goons guys. Shout out to everybody who helped me. There's a long list of shout outs in my post. And yeah, when you play my list, just have fun. It's really cool decks, something new. You probably never experienced it before. So consistent, and yeah, just have fun.
Awesome. Once again, this has been DK, aka Din Confirm, the hero of DLC Melbourne, the newest champion, taking it all the way to the top with a very innovative red-blue deck. A lot of people tend to write off meta decks as like autopilot, and this is clearly a innovative build, something that a lot of us have not seen before. Zach Stone, any final thoughts from you?
It's just the only final thought I have is that this is perfect timing because we're going into the last week of set champs, and I'm expecting to play against a lot of your deck. And unironically, the deck that I've been working on and been playing a lot kind of counters some of the strategies that what your deck's trying to do. So I hope people play your list. I really do. 'Cause I've been
Yeah.
having to play against it a lot, and I've been having very, very good like experiences and having a positive win rate. But that's pretty much all the tidbit is that like formats change all the time. Meta develops weekly, and it's important to kind of recognize that. And I want there to be more events so people can actually see that's actually the truth and that's proof. So hopefully we get a lot more news there. Hopefully we see you as a multiple DLC winner, and hopefully Kevin and I can join you in the exclusive club.
Yep. But until then, my goons, remember to stay tuned to Lurkana Goons. This has been the Quest with a Guest podcast. Zach Stone, Kevin, and DK, our newest DLC champion. Good luck at any tournaments you plan to play at set champs. Like if you're planning to play this red blue deck, have fun. That's the most important rule. And until then, we'll see you goons next time.